Hello my friends, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Gear. Alright, my name is Max, your host today, and today we're going to talk about the Salt Finesse range. As you can see here, I have a couple of different models here that I'll be talking about, so let's get into it. So the original concept of Salt Finesse was for us to develop a light tackle spinning range for short anglers. So the original lineup consisted of rods that were longer in length, 6'6", which is the shortest one, and then all the way up to 8 foot. And then they're all light spinning rods that we first launched with. So over the years, we added more variation to the lineup. Like, we had shorter ones for kayak or boat, and then we had even a bait casting version, and as well as the Salt Finesse Light, which is the solid carbon tip version, which I'll get into later. Well, the concept of Boom Fishing World Travel Rod is that we wanted to make it not just for traveling, but also for your everyday use. So we spent actually quite a lot of time and R&D to actually develop the rods. It took months or even years to get the perfect action, strength, sensitivity, and most importantly, it packs down to 4 pieces. You can put it in your luggage, your backpack. That was the concept of what we wanted to do. So to get into it just a little bit, to introduce more on the travel rods, right, is that the rods are produced part by part, meaning each of the 4 pieces are produced separately, okay, and they are all using 100% Tori carbon, and for the Salt Finesse here we're using 30-ton carbon. Almost all our rods are tubular in design, and except for the exception of the Salt Finesse Light, which has a carbon solid tip, which I'll get into later. High carbon content blanks, 100% carbon content, so it's it keeps it light and sensitive, at the same time strong, and adds a great balance. And as you can see here, we have a neoprene case for the travel rods, and they actually packed down to 4 pieces. Nowadays we have a Ocean Voyage, which is 3-piece. There are some 3-piece blanks and 4-piece blanks. So for this, there's actually individual slots for the different parts, as you can see. Over the years, we have actually added so many different models, right? For the ultralight range of Salt Finesse, there are 4 spinning models and 2 bait cast models with various lengths from 6'6" to 7'6". Generally made for light game fishing, casting small 1.5 to 2 inch soft plastics or 3 to 7 gram metal jigs from shore for shore jigging. And then use them with light range PE lines like PE 0.4, 0.3, that kind of thin lines. So for the ultralight models, we actually have a bait cast version. We actually developed this for our BFS bait casting fanatics, BFS. And then we have ultralight 7 foot and 6'6", and then you can use them in conjunction with like those light game stuff that I mentioned, like soft plastics or jigs, from shore. While for species wise, the ultralight range, smaller pelagics or bottom fish, smaller bottom fish, depending on the type of lures used. The shorter models can also be used on a boat or offshore for lighter scenarios when required. Moving on to the light range of Salt Finesse, there's actually 4 spinning and 2 bait casters. So for ranging from 6'3" to 7'6" as well. This range has a slightly heavier line rating of 0.3 to 0.8 and casting up to 12 grams, which widens up more options for you. One of the rods that I really like in the range is the 764L. So that one I use more for micro shore jigging, casting like 7 grams jigs or 12 gram jigs, up to 12 gram jigs, yeah. It's a great option if you're using, if you're covering ground and you can cast all day, but I'm casting it with PE 0.6 line, and it's a great option. So also not just jigs, but like if you're using hard body lures, like smaller hard body lures like 5 grams kind, 50 mm, great options as well if you're targeting some fish that you spotted on the surface, even small top waters if you may. Well, the butt is short on the 6'3" and the 6'8" version, so it's good for kayak or boat fishing. You can handle it easily without getting blocked. Are also great options for bass fishing, especially if you're using lighter soft plastics like Carolina rig, Texas rig, or a drop shot. These are good options for that kind of fishing as well. So the medium light range, we have 3 spinning rods, and they are actually the best option for shore, micro shore jigging, because there are 3 models. One is 7 foot, 7 foot 6, and then 8 foot. The 8 foot one and the 7 foot 6 one, these two rods are more ideal for shore-based micro jig casting from 12 grams to about 14 grams. 10 grams to 14 grams, that's a perfect type of range that you want to cast out. And then it has high sensitivity, and then also enough power if you're actually hooking onto some good fish, like maybe some trevallies or some pelagic fish that fight harder. So you want to use something that is like slightly stronger, like the ML, to actually be able to handle them. On the other hand, there's a 7 foot one, the 7 foot medium light rod. That one actually is more of an all-rounder rod. One of my favorite rods in the range. I actually use it for like light kayak fishing, kayak lure fishing. I'm casting a lot of hard body lures for small barra, small jacks, even for tarpon, an estuary kind of situation, whereby you want to cover more ground on a boat, more so for boat, and also a bit of maybe shore based, or even for fresh water as well. It has a good casting range, 4 to 16 grams, so you can use it in a lot of scenarios in both fresh and salt water, or even estuary scenarios. And finally, for the classic salt finesse range, we have the M range, which is we have 2 models, 7 foot 6M and 7 foot 8M is the heaviest of the range. It's casting up to 21 grams, so it has a wider casting options, especially for hard body lures. It's great for land-based estuary river type fishing, especially for like sea bass fishing. It has a slightly longer length, allows slightly longer cast, so you cover more ground, especially in this scenario. You got to keep casting to find the fish that are moving up and down. Yeah, so finally I'm going to go into the light series. So the light series actually is our solid carbon tip series, which is super light. The range of rods, which is a 6 foot and 6 foot 4, and then the rest are slightly heavier, so you can use that for like more finesse style, smaller jigs, slightly bigger plastics, that you want to hit slightly bigger fish, but still is a generally light rod and is meant to target small fish. So like when we talk about the 6 foot 1 and the 6 foot 4 one, you really want to use like polyester lines on it. The solid carbon tip is going to give it more sensitivity when the fish bites. Those little fish you're talking about like small pelagic fish, small micro pelagics we call it, small trevallies, scats, even small mackerels. That kind of game is more of you're gonna really go down to the minute type of fishing, and yeah, it's actually sensitive enough to feel every little bite. When you work your lure, even like tiny movements, it would actually register on that rod. So, and it's a 4-piece rod as well. So we actually reduced a lot of weight on it using SKSS and ASH Fuji wheel seats, and also titanium guides for that one, because it's the really light and small guides that we use for that. And well, it's supposed to be straight through polyester, so you can consider, if you really like light game fishing, that's one of our lightest rods in the range. It's all averaging around 70 grams to 80 grams depending on the model. I think one of it is even 65 grams if I'm not wrong, so do check it out, that one. So if you're into light game fishing, there's definitely a rod for you in the salt finesse lineup, whether it's for super light game or medium light, whether it's freshwater even, although it says salt finesse, right, but suitable for freshwater fishing, in terms of fast action and suitability when working with soft plastics or even hard body lures on certain models. Shore-based anglers, right? Shore-based anglers, that's where these rods shine. If you want to use, like a 2000 size, 2005 size reel, and you're using, light lines, PE 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, there will definitely be something in the range for you, depending on what you're targeting. I've been using some of these rods for a long time, and of course some of these like I said earlier on, we actually develop these rods for everyday use, so you don't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna buy this just because I have a trip coming and I don't want to bring a bazooka. These rods are used every day. You can use this every day easily, and the action is perfect. It's like, almost feels like a one-piece blank. It feels so sensitive, and yeah, highly recommended. So check this out at bonefishingworld.com. It actually has restocked everything, so everything is full range mostly. You can check them out at our website www.bonefishingworld.com. I'll see you again in the next episode.